Okay, so hello. I don't know how to go about this, but I'm basically gonna do like a one of the pleinairpril studies. So I have a photo reference uh, that I'll put it on the screen somewhere in editing. But for now, I'm just gonna start by okay. Let's do yellow. So yellow underpainting. Usually for underpainting color, I'll try to get something that captures the energy. But it's also like the baseline for the grays. So this will affect like what color the gray will be. So in this case, if it's like, gray against the yellow background, it's gonna like look a little purple. Which is good because in the reference, the road looks kinda purpley. Like it's in that like range. So I'm gonna start by blocking out a key part here. I'm gonna try not to undo too much. Okay. And I don't know if I'll be talking this whole way. Maybe I'll like cut out I'll fast forward every now and then. Okay, lock that part out. And it's kind of a square shape here. So about here, about here. Okay. If anyone's wondering, I took this photo while I was out for a nice walk in the morning. Okay, actually the reference image, it's a little darker, but let's adjust that in a bit. Okay, let's make it darker. About there. I think this month I've been using the lasso or the palette knife a lot. I guess I want to focus on the big shapes. Okay, so I got that, and then there's this triangular shape here to the right, about here. So let's start a little dark. Okay, it's up here. All right, and then there's some grass to the left there. So it's a kind of cool, not too warm, and desaturated actually. Okay. We can always like add some saturation to that later. Okay. And then there's another grass patch here next to this triangular shape. So it's kind of warmer than the one we just did. So that's my reference point. It's also darker in value. A bit more warm. Yeah, okay, let's stick with that. Sure. So focus on the big shape. Not worrying so much about detail. Like there are some parts of this like image where I'm just not gonna include it. Like some detail here on the right, or the building at the back, because I want to capture actually the nice sunlight at the trees here, like kind of going diagonally towards the scene. So let's continue. Actually, this is a bit more lighter than I thought, but we can smudge it out. So towards the left here, lighter, and it does feel more cool. So we can add a little bit of that purple kind of color. And I want to block in the shadow here. Okay. There we go. That's good. Simplify. And then for our reference point, let's just use a bit of dark gray here, because there's the curb here. So let's mark that. It's actually darker, but I don't want to follow the photo too much. But I think it's important to get the general relationship of things here as well. Okay. And I don't want to take too long as well with this study. Okay. And then a bit of light. I want to go a little cooler with the lighting. So I'm taking like a nice blue here, because I want it to contrast later with the warm colors. Okay. Here. Okay, slowly do it. Okay. Now we can zoom out a little bit and kind of focus on the back. I'm gonna try and squint my eyes just to get a general feel, because there's so much going on in the background. It's very easy for me to get overwhelmed here, so I wanna try just keep it simple. So arm here. Actually, let's put the building at the back first. So similar to this like sky blue, this like little blue color. Let's make it a little darker. Lock it in first. Yep. Big shape. Kind of darker actually. More gray. Yeah, that's about right. There we go. And let's do the back as well. So this plane is facing the sunlight, so I want to lean towards more like turquoise. A little bit, not too cool. And then let's just try and capture the essence of it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's just follow it all the way down. And then it's kind of going, it's like inverted. So dot dot do. And then here we kind of invert this. Okay. And then there's a bit of gray. I'm not going to go into detail with that, but so I'm going to use this gray color just to, there we go, carve out the edges and the planes. It's actually bordering like a warm yellow kind of. But let's stick with the blue first. Can add that later. And then, okay, here there's a bunch of colors kind of. Mishmashing. I don't want to be too concerned about the final result. I just want to capture the main thing, which is the color harmonies. Okay, and then the one at the back, we're not gonna add too much detail. All right. Or we could actually, I think it would be nice. So let's take this blue and shift it down, because this will be away from the sun. Same with this one. Shift it down a little bit. So it'll be away from the sun. Hold on, let me do this properly. Okay. And then actually this gray tone at this plane, it looks a little warmer than usual. So we're gonna use that to our advantage. Like let's use this. Yeah, sure. This will be behind some trees, so it's not the most important, but we can try. Letting that underpainting kind of peek through, it's really nice. Okay, time for the sky. The sky is very cool. So we're gonna just add a little bit of that. Okay. Then, okay, that's the rest of it. Okay, so I think just to have the perspective, we're gonna add a little bit of this. But we're not gonna go too much in detail. Just so that we know that it's going back. There we go. And then a little bit of this. Basically, it's like the information you want to give to whoever is looking at the piece. What do you want to show? Okay. I think I can use that first here. It's always a bravery test sometimes. When you block in something and then you have to paint over it. Okay, now there's a truck. The truck is kind of our focal point. So let's have him here, right in the middle. Nice big shape, actually lighter. There we go. I really like the window color. It's kind of like a bit cooler. A little bit cooler. There we go. Okay, that black for the tire, I'm gonna use the curb because it's roughly the same value. So that's how we can keep our color relationship. Yeah, let's make the window darker. Sometimes I forget to add contrast out of fear of overdoing it, but most of the time I feel like it's good to have more or less, because you can take away or add more depending on what you need. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's stick with that. So behind the truck there is a nice cool tree right here, big shape. big shape. And there's a little bit of that like here. And then for this side, let's suggest the building. So it's kind of the same tone here, but we're just gonna suggest it a little bit. Again, not the main focal point, so we're just gonna quickly block it in. I'm being selective about what I want to show. There's a nice purple here. Let's show that. So now this is the same tone as this. And then let's block in the tree trunks. Kind of greenish towards the gray. A bit lighter. This goes all the way up here. It's actually lighter, but we can make the leaves darker right here. A lot of leaf action going on here. Just gonna focus on the big shapes. Just gonna act as the shadow for the back. Oh. I might adjust the truck actually. I'm not really satisfied with how that looks. So okay. Do I prefer that? Actually, let's try what this one. Oh, it looks nicer. Sometimes you gotta experiment a little bit. Since the truck is the focal point, do wanna pay a bit more attention to it to capture the energy. I think I'll use a different brush for the window. It's still focusing on the big shapes though. There we go. You know what? Yeah, let's just stick with that. Have the grill here. Truck. And then up. A bit of that. And I want to be a little playful with the shadows actually. Let's try this. Ah, there we go. Let's add a little bit of that. I think that's nice. Definitely, I think we can increase the contrast at certain parts. Okay. And here it's a little bit of highlights. Got a complex scene actually. Again, being selective about what I wanna add. Let's do this. This is like a loading bay or like a drop off area for trucks. It's a big plant here. And then tree trunks in the sunlight. So I'm gonna take this color, gonna make it warmer. There we go. There's a nice little shape here that we could add. It's like a wedge. There we go. There's the entrance to a food place. And then we can do a little bit of that. There's some lights too, so let's add that kind of like warm lights. There we go. And then here, the gray, I wanna make it darker. And then up here, add a little bit of that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Oh yes. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a nice little thing here. Let's get a cool yellow. Yes. Actually, it's warmer in the photo, but I like how cool it is here. I'm a big fan of this. There we go. Because it kind of like emphasizes how cool this area is compared to the other, like the sunlight. So here actually it's lighter, so I want to try smudging it to see if I can get a desired effect. Thoughts? I think I'll take it out. Take that out. And then actually I have to cut back this thing. There we go. Let's just cut it back. And then I need to add a white line. And then this goes all the way. There we go. Along with this. There's actually another truck at the back. I don't really want to focus on that. Ooh, wait. There's a warm version of this curb right here. There we go. And then let's do the white. It's lighter actually, way lighter. There we go. There's a bit of sunlight affecting this, but I don't know if I want to capture that. Okay. I'll try to add this shelter. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I think we'll leave that out. Not important. Not important. Mr. Truck here is important. Okay, that's pretty much it, I feel. We could try and push it a bit more, because I've been doing it on one layer, but we could really try and push the contrast by using some blend modes. So let's do hard light. I like hard light. I wanna keep it controlled. Let's just see how it looks. Push the contrast a bit more. And then where the light shines, we can kind of add some. I like to think of blend modes as glazing, like white with a little bit of yellow in this case, and then after that you kind of layer it on top of your painting, coming from a little bit of a traditional background. Okay, let's try add some coolness to the shadows here. Maybe. No, I think it's fine. Let's focus on the lights. And while not in the photo, I'm gonna add a little bit of highlights. Just to emphasize that it's shining here. Honestly, I feel like the sky doesn't reflect the mood I wanna convey. So let's try a nicer or something a bit more vibrant. Oh yeah, look at this. Yum. Okay, that's a vibe. Okay, let's add some clouds. I think that'll be fun. There we go. I still think we could push it more. Let's try adding a little bit of coolness. Ooh, that's quite a lot actually. Push the contrast more. Oh, yeah, it definitely is a step. But I don't know if I want to go with it. Thoughts. Well, it does help with the contrast, so maybe we'll stick with it. And then let's just blend it a little bit. Smudge tool. Here we go. There we go. Sometimes the textures are a bit aggressive, so let's just blend it a little bit. Yeah. That works pretty nicely. Okay, what other decisions do I want to make? Let's see, let's look at the photo reference. I remember it was a nice clear day. It was really early in the morning, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Yeah, I think this is fine. Maybe I'll do a little bit more touch-ups, but for the most part, I think this captures the overall mood of that morning. Sometimes the sunlight peeks through the trees here. Oh, let's get the fan oil. There we go. Sometimes it peeks through the trees. I'll add a little bit of this cool highlight to our little friend, the van. Well, since we're here, we could actually do the sunlight, like the light shining at this part. But I don't know, maybe that takes away a little bit of the focus. Well, yeah, that kind of works actually. And on second thought, I'm gonna remove the clouds. Let's just keep it a nice clear sky. Goodbye, clouds. Okay, yeah, that's about it. I hope this gives some insight. I just wanted to try this out, kind of record my process, because it's also for me to like remember how I do things, and also I guess approach it more methodically and not just like willy-nilly putting down colors. Thinking a bit more about some decisions I make when doing a little painting like this. Yeah, I might do more, but for now, thanks for watching if you made it all the way here, and yeah, see you.